Hello and welcome to Midnight Scribe's Creative Vibes, where we speak to the best of the bronies and discover what makes them tick. Do you smell the awesomeness in the studio today? If you can, what the hell are you doing in my studio? Get out! Shoot, before you destroy my beautiful fro. Now, for those of you who haven't invaded, the delicious smell of Domino's pizza is wafting through the recording booth as I've just enjoyed an incredibly tasty pepperoni pizza from Domino's. And also, thanks to Domino's, some great chocolate cookies from Domino's. Right, that's the contractually obligated advertising out of the way. On with the show! Now, my guest tonight is an artist in the fandom who does incredibly adorable poems, is a personal favourite of my partner, and is also one of my semi-regular gaming buddies. She hails from Canada, the land of Maple. It's Mapleicious! Maple, how are you doing?
I am doing quite alright. Thank you for asking.
That is good to hear. Quite alright is a perfectly good place to be at this moment, which, for those of you who don't know, we're recording this at Wednesday 10 p.m. GMT. I don't know what that is in Canada land, but
It is currently 3:18.
3:18. So mid-afternoon on Wednesday. What's it like over there in Canada?
Um, it's just starting to have blue skies. And yeah, because it was rather cloudy earlier, but now it's all good. No more snow, finally.
Oh well, that's good. I'm glad the snow is gone. I mean, over here in Scotland, we've actually had some pretty decent weather. I don't know which god we bribed, but we've clearly bribed the right one because we've actually gotten some sun, which is amazing. But still, it is great to have you on the show at last, Maple. Obviously we've chatted plenty of times before. We played video games. I know my partner, Infinite Affection, loves you to bits. The amount of commission work that he has sent her way is ridiculous, people. Honestly, I wish he gave me that much money, honestly. But I'm not surprised. You do absolutely fantastic work, and you're certainly one of the younger artists actually on the scene to make a bit of a splash here in the MLP fandom. So I want to ask, because I've got to address the elephant in the room, which is, for those of you who don't know and maybe don't perhaps pay attention to some of the fandom stuff that happens, Maple, you're dating Tyne.
Yes, I am.
Right, now I've just got to ask, right, because for those of you who don't know, he was a guest on season 1 of Creative Vibes back in the early days where I really didn't know what I was doing, as opposed to now where I just don't know what I'm doing. But I mean, obviously, Tiny Doug is absolutely fantastic. Love him to bits. Uh, Firstly, I gotta ask, how can you ever see him? He is still rowing across the Atlantic to see me. He keeps sending me messages saying that he's there in a little canoe, just canoeing his way over to Scotland.
We Skype.
Oh well, at least you can
The
Skype.
Wi-Fi's quite nice on the canoe, as he tells me.
Yeah, he must have really decent Wi-Fi. I lose Wi-Fi if I go in a tunnel, so I don't know how he's managed to do it, but I am impressed. But I'm glad that I've seen you together for a wee while. You two are absolutely adorable. I mean, how did you two meet?
Actually, I started off as a little bit of a fan of his back when his channel was just starting to gain some traction, and I've been leaving comments, and then he was replying. I was like, oh well, he has a Facebook. Why don't I say hi to him on Facebook? So I did. That's where we started talking, and then he gave me his Skype, and then we kept talking, and then a friendship bloomed, and then romance bloomed.
Oh, well, you see, that's fantastic. That's just absolutely lovely to hear. And obviously, like I said, Ty's absolutely great. You're absolutely great. I'm glad things are going well for the two of you. And, I've seen your art, the digital and the traditional art. It is so beautiful, the pieces you've done of you two together, of the other ponies you've done. And, like I said, you do alternate between digital and you have done a bit of traditional art in the past as well. What do you actually prefer to do, and what do you think is the biggest challenge of doing each of them?
My personal favorite is to do digital work, but that doesn't mean like I like to dabble in the traditional sometimes. It's a nice change of pace. But as to which one is more difficult, it really depends, honestly, because sometimes I guess well, some would say that traditional is harder to do because there's no control Z and there are no there's no layers in traditional work where you can just, oh well, I don't like this layer, I'll just delete it, right? Like you can in digital, but in digital it's also like your pen pressures and how like different pens and brushes work and everything you gotta learn. And I don't know, I find equally to be as hard depending on how much you know, but equally as fun to do both. I'm very in the center.
Oh, listen, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, it's great to see someone who enjoys doing art in both mediums. I mean, it's you know, you sometimes meet an artist who obviously prefers one over the other for whatever reason. You know, be it whether they're a huge independent producer or perhaps they're just a fan, a fan creator just having a bit of fun. So it's interesting to see all the kind of different aspects of why people enjoy using different mediums and how they actually go about it. And uh,
Mhm.
and the thing is as well, like particularly as an artist, it's incredibly hard work to actually make art pieces. So how do you actually get your how do you actually go about a certain piece? What actually gets you inspired?
Music often gets me in the mood to draw something, but then say, like, I've just been playing Spiral recently, and now I'm working on a dragon-like project because, oh, well, it's dragons. I want to draw dragons now, right? Or sometimes it'll be like like, say I watch a movie, and then all of a sudden I got this idea to do something. Or maybe I'm reading a book, and it's like, oh, well, now I want to draw one of those characters, right? So, that kind of deal.
Going back to yourself, Mabel, because of course that is the focus of the show. I know that I mean, obviously we talked about your art, and that's obviously kind of your main trade in the fandom. But I know that you've got a YouTube channel and you've done a few speed paints there in the past. Have you got any future plans for the video side of things, or any kind of upcoming collaborations that might be going on behind the scenes that you could perhaps let us in on?
No collaborations, but I'm going to try and make a video more so like how to make like a character but a good color scheme kind of thing. So I'm going to try working on that, see how it turns out. If I don't like it, it's not going up. But yeah, it's besides that, just speed paints is all I could really say is for the channel so far.
Well, in terms of like, I'll tell you what. Let me change that question a wee bit. Actually, in terms of because obviously, you're planning on doing speed paints, in the future, and obviously you do art and so on. Let me change it around a bit and actually say what kind of content, you know, putting all kind of expectations, time, talent, all the rest to the side. What kind of content would you love to produce yourself? Like, in the future, if no holds barred.
Like video content
Of anything, any kind of
of
content.
anything.
What kind of creator
Yeah,
would you like? Because I mean, you've just had your birthday. You just turned
18.
18. But yes, you've just turned 18, and so I mean, it's you're still this. I can't believe I'm having to use this word because it makes me sound old, but you're quite young. I'm 26. I should be in put to pasture by now. But so obviously you've got a long way to go. So I'd be curious to see exactly where would you like your creative uh, career, whatever you want to call it. Where would you like to go with it?
I know I want to try and like illustrate stories, whether that's like with a comic or maybe like animation, whether it's fully animated or maybe just like sliding like little pictures just on the screen kind of thing. That's kind of what I want to try and do because there have been so many times where I get these ideas to do a thing and then it's like, oh yeah, this whole world and this is how it works, but then I just don't do it. But now like I'm thinking that I have the time and I want to try and do something more like that, but we shall see.
Well, we shall see indeed. We shall see where you grow. But hey, you're 18. You've got the whole world before you. Who knows what will happen? But I'm sure it will be fantastic, whatever it is. But to talk about where you are right now, let's have a look at that name of yours. I mean, Maplecous. Where did that come from?
I don't know, really. I think it was just my old name, Maple Sketch. It just sounded a little bit too jarring, I guess. And I was just like, I slowly just detached from the name. But then I noticed like other like it's just at the end just made it sound cuter. It's like, well, what if we did Maplelicious? That's a really good idea. Oh my goodness. So then I made a new character. But it was kind of like one of those, oh, make a look-alike character challenges. So I did that. I was like, huh, I really like her. I think I'm going to use her from now on. And here we are now. She's got a new redesign. She's my mascot in the fandom. It's great.
Oh, definitely. Well, I mean, I'm just glad that Maplicous didn't come from the 2006 hip hop single Fergalicious, which is what I was really worried about. I was
No.
so worried. I was prepared to disown you and end this interview if that's where it came from. So I'm glad that it wasn't and it was entirely innocent, so I'm glad our friendship can continue.
I'm glad too.
Just watch right now, she's actually texting Tyndega just going, please send help, please send help.
Send help. No. Wait, no. How did you know? I'm
And I.
kidding.
Midnight Scribe is a psychic. But no, I actually want. Let's bring this back to actually what we're all about, which is the ponies. My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic. And so I've got a couple of questions I would like to ask you related to this illustrious, fantastic topic. And the first question, as always, is what's your favourite character?
Pick Rarity. She's just when she has her dramatic moments, they're always just she's just a joy to watch when those happen. And I just go, oh, jeez, Rarity. She's just her flair and everything. I love her.
Oh, definitely no. She is a full-on drama queen, so I can certainly relate if nothing else. And in turn, what about your favorite episode then?
Oof, that's a question. Um, hmm. Honestly, because I have a terrible memory with episodes, I'm just gonna say the season 8 premiere. Just because it's like the hippogriffs, but then it's just all these different species and new characters that I absolutely love, and it's just a new thing going on. And it's great. I love it.
Well, this is the part where I have to admit that I, Midnight Scribe, host of the biggest pony podcast that comes out of Inverness, Scotland, has not actually watched the season 8 premiere yet. Hopefully, by the time this is broadcast, I will have. So, feel free to comment asking if I have, and if I haven't, feel free to beat me around the head with a bit of stick or something. I don't know, because it is ridiculous how far back I am. But so yeah, I'll have to look forward to watching an episode of season 8 and actually seeing how it goes. I'm still halfway through season 7.
Ugh,
But how did you
get on,
Oh, sorry.
get on it.
Oh yeah, I do need to get on it. It is ridiculous, but anyhow, I will get there eventually. But let's go back to yourself and let's actually talk about MLP. Because how did you actually become a fan of My Little Pony in the first place? What brought you in?
I'll say I was a complete jerk before I got into the show because I was getting into the show. I was around like 12 or 13 years old. I was just in grade. I just got in seventh grade, kind of thing, right? So everybody wants to be cool and everything like that, right? And I remember my classmates, they were like, "Oh yeah, like My Little Pony, oh yeah, haha, whatever." I'm like, "Oh yeah, haha, whatever too." But then one night I was like, well, what if I just like watched an episode, like just like laugh at it or something like that, right? But then I actually fell in love with the show. And I was like, I would come upstairs like, Mom, still, I would be like, my sister is like, oh my god, like this is so good. And now I got them watching it too. So yeah, I started off as a jerk, but I've grown up and I've learned better.
Well, you know, the amount of people I've spoken to, both on the show and off, who have all said that they kind of went into My Little Pony expecting the worst or to mock it and actually became fans as a result. It is such a common tale. So don't feel bad about yourself in terms of that, because if I had a dime for every time someone has actually said that to me, I would actually have a whole dollar. It is amazing.
Oh jeez.
So don't worry, I completely get it.
Well, that's good.
But obviously that got you into My Little Pony. But obviously the fandom itself is a lot deeper than that. So what was the jump? How did you actually get involved?
Okay, so how I got involved was, well, I started looking up videos on YouTube and I found an animator who went by the name Brony Dance Party. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then I was like, I would be watching his videos, but then I'd see the term brony be tossed around. It's like, what are like bronies just like fans of his content or whatever? Until one day I decided to like look it up. It's like, oh, that's what it means. Okay, then I guess I am one. Okay, cool. And then I started drawing a little bit of of ponies, and then I that's where I am today with my artwork. I started when I was what, 12. Here I am.
6 years later, and you're here.
Yep.
I
Look at
still.
what 6 years of progress can do. Granted, there's one. Yeah, my DeviantArt has old taboo art.
I know I've seen some of the bits you have a bit earlier back in the timeline and whatnot, but you certainly progressed as an artist. There's absolutely no question there. I mean, what do you think is the biggest thing you've actually learned as an artist that's helped you to improve?
I think it's more so what really improved my artwork, I want to say, is when I really learned how to go about coloring and shading. And then just like observing other styles is another thing, and doing and like mimicking their styles and everything. But I don't think I really got good until I really learned how I should go about shading and coloring a character, right? So
Hmm. Well, I suppose once you learn the shading side of things, that's actually what kind of gives the character texture, and stops it being
yeah,
just like this really flat shape on a piece of
and
paper. So,
yeah, and it can also, depending on, because one big thing I learned when it comes to shading is instead of just using black and whites, well, why don't you use a light shade of yellow and then a dark shade of blue for shading, and then it helps the image pop a little bit there too, as from what I've found anyway. It's not as dull if you just do black and white shading. It all depends on the lighting though, but that's a whole other topic.
oh, no worries, no worries. But I tell you what, actually, going back to the earlier topic, because obviously we briefly touched on yourself and Ty, and obviously the fandom itself is a very intense place, shall we say? It's certainly and particularly in recent months, due to a variety of events, which frankly I am not going to go into because we are a show of positivity and nothing else. But obviously the fandom. It can direct a lot of attention towards certain people, and obviously it's a like I said, it's a very intense place. What's your opinion on the fandom in general, and also because of obviously you and Ty being an item, has that garnered you any attention in any ways in regards to that?
It has a little bit, but that's just because he's been sharing my stuff a lot, so that's how I've just been starting to get a little bit more people following and such like that. But my overall opinion on the fandom is, well, it's good. I have a good opinion on the fandom. It brought me lots of friends and everything like that, but that isn't to say that there are bad sides to it. There's always going to be a bad side that nobody shall talk about in every fandom. But and of course, like even like little subsections of the fandom have their problems too, right? But in overall, it is one of my favorite fandoms ever. It's one of the most welcoming, biggest communities I've been part of, and I've met you, your partner, Ty, multiple other people that I'm close with too, right? So I'm not sure where I would be without the fandom.
Well, I'm glad that your experience here has been positive, and I'm really glad to hear as well that with your relationship with Ty, there hasn't been any kind of blowback from the fans and whatnot. I was worried that not to go like turn into TMZ or anything like that. Like I was not intending to turn this into like celebrity corner gossip or anything. But obviously, I wanted to check and make sure that things were all right there, and because obviously it's not something that we've ever really chatted about much, really, on Creative Vibes, because it doesn't really tend to happen. I don't think we've ever had a guest on, aside from Infinite, my partner, who's actually been with someone else we've actually interviewed. I don't think that's happened. Apart from like, I think we had one husband and wife duo in season 2. I think that was it.
Then it is an honor to be the second or third incident
And I,
of this happening.
yeah. I know. I'm sorry. That's quite a random thing for me to kind of bring up, but it's just an interesting thought because obviously I met my partner through the fandom, you've met your partner through the fandom, and obviously there are plenty of people who have done that as well. But it's quite interesting because obviously it's quite an online phenomenon, and
Hmm.
particularly when you're long distance as well, it's just a very unusual thing.
Yeah.
But also absolutely fantastic. I should point out, yes, Infinite, I do love you. Please don't hurt me. But I tell you what, I actually wanted to ask you actually a segment I have not done before, and I'll be honest with you, I don't think I'm going to do this afterwards either. But I'm going to trial it. Is because I know obviously you're from Canada, and I also know because the little birdies told me, and also because I've heard it that you also know French.
A little bit. It's kind of died a little, but
Well,
I could still communicate a little bit in French. I can understand it, like when I'm reading or listening to it, like that I'm fine with. It's the talking that's kind of died a little. And that's
okay,
just
okay.
not being able to speak it with much people. Though Irvi tries, and I try to reply back.
Well,
Uh,
this might be your worst nightmare then, because I asked Infinite for some French questions for you, and he has prepared one or two for me. Now, just bear in mind, listeners. Firstly, Maple, as she has said, is a little bit rusty in the French. So we've got a Canadian person who knows a bit of French and is a bit rusty, and you've got a Scottish person who really doesn't know French about trying to speak French. This is going to be a very interesting segment. So if it turns out right after this there's a really big jump cut and it ends with "and thank you to Maple for being on the show," you know what's happened.
uh,
So don't worry, I've got two questions I need to ask you, and then I've got something else afterwards. I'm gonna try and pronounce this and not butcher it. So if any French people are listening to this, this is my fault. I do apologise. I know So France is absolutely lovely. I look forward to visiting. Uh, so our first question is, and I'm gonna try and pronounce this. Uh, Quel ton anime préféré?
oh, Full Metal Alchemist. I'm not sure what that one is in French.
I'll be honest with you, I don't know either. If anyone actually knows what Full Metal Alchemist is translated into French, put it in the comments. We'd actually quite like to know that. That'd be quite cool. So, what do you like about
Hmm.
Full Metal Alchemist then?
It's just it was Brotherhood that I think is my favorite version of the anime, but it's the one that I think really got me into like watching a bunch of anime. Like that's not ignoring like Inuyasha and Sailor Moon, which Sailor Moon is one I grew up with, but it's like it's such the characters I love. And I'm also just a fan of the Seven Deadly Sins kind of idea that they have going on there too, and just like the whole like play God, but then like the story, like everything about the story, the characters, just and how it's animated, it's all just ugh, I love it all so much. I'm trying to get Ty to watch it one day.
Oh, one day you'll get him there, I'm absolutely sure. And actually, our second question is actually on a very similar theme. Oh, help, I'm already seeing this could be a disaster. Yeah, deep breath. Qu'est-ce que c'est que ta chanson Disney préférée?
Oh, ma chanson préférée de Disney est. C'est une question quite difficile. uh, I don't know. There are so many good ones. Uh, um, mm, not sure if I can answer that. There are just so many good Disney songs.
Ooh, if you can't think of one. Oh, well, I'll tell you what, if you do think of any in the next couple of minutes, do let me know, and we can always come back to it.
Will do. I'm actually. I'll pull up my Disney playlist and look through a bunch of them to see if I find my favorite.
Oh, that sounds like a good plan, good plan. But I'll tell you what, my third section is I was actually wondering if I were to pass you some very, very basic kind of French, well, English MLP phrases, I was wondering if you might possibly be able to make them slightly French for me.
Oof. We can try.
Don't worry, there's nothing too difficult, I don't think. Or well, I say this, I'm not the one translating, so take that for what you for what it is.
uh,
So I've got three phrases for you, and I just want to see what they actually are in French. So
well, Okay.
Well, here's the first one. Applejack is best pony.
Applejack Pony Mayev, I think. Ugh, I really think that's how it is.
Listen, like, you just have to convince me. The audience, if, like I said, you can check and see if she's right. I don't have a clue. My French, I stopped doing French over 10 years ago. I am gone as far as the French language is concerned. Although I should know better. I'll tell you what, right? Here's a slightly harder one then.
Ugh.
Right. Emmy Larson is addicted to using alicorns.
Amy Lawson utilise les alicornes. That's the way I would adjust it too, because I don't know the word addicted.
Oh, don't worry. Oh, so what did you change it to?
She loves using alicorns.
That's fair enough. That makes sense. That's absolutely fine. Yeah, I mean, that is Emmy Larson to a T. And our third one, our third phrase, Midnight Scribe is the best interviewer around.
Midnight Scribe le meilleur interviewer du monde. Although I had to change it of the world because I forgot what ever was.
Oh, listen, that's absolutely fine. Listen, like I said, I don't know French. That's the fact that you can even do a bit of it is entirely impressive to me. And thank you, by the way, for giving us a review quote that we can now use if we ever try to promote this show in France. We can now
You're
say
welcome.
now approved by Maplicous, genuine Canadian citizen in French. There we go. That's how we got it.
Oof. I know I just kind of Frenchified interview too, so uh my French is terrible.
Don't you mean terrible?
C'est pas le meilleur du monde, mais je le sais.
I don't know what that means, so I'm going
I
to end the
tried.
interview here because I don't know what it means. But we're actually just about run out of time anyway. And hey, listen, Maple, we made it to the end. Hey,
Yay!
that's absolutely brilliant, and it wasn't so bad, was it?
No, I didn't think it was gonna be bad. It was an experience, though. I won't lie.
And it was an experience that is very PR talk for I'm going to be in a straight jacket in about an hour.
Rocking back and forth in my corner.
I know, just like, he asked me French, and I didn't know what the word was. No.
Stupid, stupid.
No, no, you're not
Oh,
stupid. Not at all. You've been
no.
absolutely fantastic, Maple. And honestly,
Oh,
and
thank
thank you for
you.
being such a great sport. I mean, because like I said, throwing you a bit of French there, that would have thrown off most people. And like I said, we've not done that before, so that was new.
Good to know as the guinea pig.
Listen, like, if you want to blame anyone, blame Infinite Affection. That's all I'll say. But we shall wrap up the show here just now. My thanks to Mapleicious for being our guest this week on the show. My thanks to you guys for watching. And of course, if you want to get in contact with us, well, we're all over the internet. We have our Facebook, we have our Twitter, we have a Tumblr, we've got the YouTube channel where you're watching this right now, and of course our email address, highlandbronies@hotmail.com. Constructive criticism, perhaps you want to lavish praise on us if you're a creator in the fandom or in another fandom perhaps who might actually be interested in being interviewed on the show, want to be considered, send the emails our way, get in contact. We'd love to hear more from you and to have a look at what you've got. But for now, we have to end this show. It's a shame, but I do have another 4 Domino's cookies to finish, so I do have to go eat them. But my thanks to Maple for being on the show. Thanks to you all for watching. And the final word from Midnight Scribe is, as always, please subscribe.